Welcome to the Dental Jobs Diaries podcast, in association with dentaljobs.com, a leading job board for dental professionals. Please sit back and relax and listen to some of the thought leaders across the dentistry sector. Hello everyone, I do hope you're keeping well. Welcome to a further podcast of the Dental Jobs Diaries in association with dentaljobs.com. I'm over the moon to have a new guest with us today, John McQueen, Director of Education with Scottish Dental Care. John, great to have you on the show. Firstly, how was the weekend? What was the weather like and what was the football like up there?
More or less, thanks for having me on. It's an honour and a pleasure to get a bit of chance to chat to you in person properly over Zoom. Yeah, the weekend was great. I was working, sadly, and weather up here was absolutely glorious. And as patients go walkabouts a little bit when the weather comes out, so I did manage to catch the first half of the Old Firm. I'll probably upset half of the Scottish listeners by saying that it was a good result for me, but yeah, it was good. But no, a work-filled weekend, really. Up in Inverness, doing a bit of clinical stuff yesterday as well. So yeah, back at home, and yeah, really excited to get to chat to you.
Good stuff. It's obviously great to have you on the show, and it'll be really good to get an insight from you and your career to date, and obviously help listeners as well make informed decisions about what they want to do and how they want to start as well. So, John, when did your clinician career start?
I graduated in 2015. I trained in Glasgow. I've never really been one to wander far from home. Grew up and raised in Glasgow, trained in Glasgow, and now work in Glasgow. So yeah, no, I really enjoyed my time at uni. I think lucky I was never really, speak to some people who are these really inspirational stories about how they knew from the age of 4 that they wanted to be a dentist and they totally fell in love with the profession. I wish I could say that. I think now in hindsight, it was really lucky that I fell into what I do. I think when you're so young, you don't really have an idea of what it's going to be like. No real clue of what working in a profession like this is going to be like. I always enjoyed the sciences at school, liked the idea of working with my hands. That kind of put 2 and 2 together. But a lot of friends and colleagues that I've worked with or went to uni with, they don't do dentistry anymore. They've moved away from the profession. It was just by pure chance that I've fallen in love with it, and I've got a real passion for it now that I get to do it and really enjoy the day in, day out with it.
That's probably the same with a lot of professions, isn't it? Nobody goes through school saying, I want to be a dentist or I want to be a recruiter or an accountant. It's a case of, as you get older and go through education, it kind of potentially steers you in that direction, especially as you mentioned there, friends and family members. But so 2015. So I guess what made you choose dentistry? Oh, you said you're good with your hands, but is there a particular thing that pushed you in that direction?
Honestly, nothing really. My mum, probably. It's one of those, you get those influences from home. I did spend a bit of time doing some work experience between that and in a local GP surgery, thinking about going down the route of medicine, and just liked the idea of dentistry, seeing how they worked closely with patients, build up that rapport, and almost become like the cornerstone of people's social circle in a way. I really like that social aspect of it. But as I say, it was mostly just the luck that I've grown to enjoy it. I say luck, I guess it is what you make of it sometimes with that. I think the attitude that you have towards further learning and creating a type of environment that you can enjoy your work in. And it's one of those, if you enjoy what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. Maybe not quite that, but if you enjoy it, it's half the battle.
I suppose, John, the job that you do make people happy, right? They come in for work to be done, and excuse the pun, but you make sure people leave with smiles on their face, right? And that's the whole aspect. And I suppose the relationship element as well is really important in building those strong relationships for customers and everything else. So 2015, you started your career. So how has Scottish Dental Care supported your career and development to date? And what's the journey been like with them? Because obviously you're the Director of Education now. So what's been happening over the last sort of 6-7 years?
It's a great question. And I think, I've been with Scottish Dental Care for about 3 or 4 years now. And that really has had a profound impact on my progression in the last 4 years, and it's really amplified how things have gone. When I first graduated, did VT, spent a little bit of time working in MaxFax actually in the hospitals, and after that, first couple of associate jobs, I think everyone's the same, to be fair. You come out into the big bad world, as it were, after years and years of structured education, and it can be quite daunting, to be honest. There are so many different courses out there. Everyone tells you theirs is the best. You've got no real clue. And I think without proper guidance, as you say, dentistry is a really social career, and you get that. But from a clinical side of things, it can be quite isolating sometimes. And if you don't have the proper people in place mentors, etc., yeah, you can get a little bit lost. And I feel like that's where I was. And then the pandemic hit, and if everyone takes a little step back, takes a breather, that's when I, funnily enough, through a friend, got in touch with Philip Friel, who's our director of dentistry at Scottish Dental Care. I started doing just a little bit of Invisalign work in one of his clinics just as a side. We built a fantastic relationship. Phil is, in my opinion, he's one of the best dentists in the country, so I was really keen to learn from him. His experience, his knowledge, his work ethic and everything, it really inspired me. And that's when I took the plunge and made the transition to work with Scottish Dental Care full time. I'd say that was about 4 years ago. Since then, I've had the privilege of working side by side with Phil in our flagship clinic, and also some of the other clinicians in the clinic are some of the best dentists in the country. So I'm really steeped in these guys have forgotten more about dentistry than I know. So it's a great environment to learn it from. Yeah, everyone is really approachable. They're really keen to share cases. We still, on a weekly basis, all sit down and look at cases together and plan things. And it's a really cliche to say, but a really open door environment. I mean, it really nurtures and fosters that growth in people. So I've loved my time with them. As an aside to the clinical aspect, Scottish Dental Care have financially supported me through my master's degree. I'm currently in the first year of my MClin and fixed removable pros down at King's in London. And that's something they offer to all their associates as an incentive to not only come and work with us and be part of the family, but to push yourself. And we've really got that kind of ethos of just keep going and keep trying to be better, not only for yourself, but for our patients as well. It's been great. I've loved my time with them.
So how was your working relationship with Phil when you first started? Was there any nerves there? Obviously, how good he is, and not only as a businessman, but as obviously as a dentist as well. He must have been a bit nervous at the beginning.
I think to go in when I was a student, I spent a bit of time in Phil's clinic shadowing him. You're going back to 2012, and I was like 21, 22 years of age, and you walk into this clinic, like nothing you've ever seen before. These guys are doing things I've never even heard of. I was totally blown away. And I remember thinking back, I came back and spoke to a flatmate and said, this place is insane. I would love to work somewhere like that. And it's always been the goal to work, if not there, somewhere like that. Fast forward 10, 11 years down the line, to be part of that team and accepting referrals from them. It is absolutely, see the level of the work that's going on there. But it's all about that mindset, when it's about knowing that, okay, I'm here for a reason and I've got the skills, and that pushes you to be better as well. You see the quality of work that's around you, you learn from that and then progress. And my dentistry has come on leaps and bounds since I've been working with Phil and everyone else in the team. So it's been brilliant.
It's that famous saying, though, isn't there, John? Surround yourself with the best and your level will only elevate to theirs. That for me sounds absolutely brilliant, and things obviously it's going in the right direction, which is brilliant. Obviously, I know we've touched on this briefly, but we've now moved into a sort of a non-collision role. So director of education, that's right.
Yes, yeah. So clinical director of education for Scottish Dental Care. I started that role maybe coming up for about 18 months ago. Again, still predominantly clinical, still work 4 days a week in the clinic, but this is just a kind of an adjunct to help support the clinicians within the group. And again, it just came from a conversation with Phil, Andrew and I. I am a bit of a geek, to be honest, obsessed with all like dental CPD and kind of a courseaholic. I'm always my wife says that to me, so I wish she would spend some money on something that isn't teeth related for a change. So I love it, and I love chatting teeth with people. We're lucky enough to have some young dentists and some dental students work with us in clinic as nurses and support staff, and love spending time teaching and mentoring them. As the group grows and has grown, I think we've got maybe 90 to 100 associates now, countrywide, nationwide. I said to Phil, I feel like we're missing a trick here. We've got such a large hive mind of fantastic clinicians across the country who've all got niches and experiences in different areas of dentistry. Why not try and bring that together into a focal point and create an educational programme within the group? It's something that probably in the country hasn't been done to this scale yet, and yet it's grown arms and legs from there really, and it's rolling quite nicely.
So John, essentially you're putting this clinician course together to bring everyone together to be able to help support, guide, mentor, and that's going to be what you're going to be rolling out. Is that right?
Exactly, yeah. So it's multifaceted, and I always say this to the associates and my colleagues, is that it's not a case of my omnipotence over it. I don't profess to know anywhere near everything about dentistry, but I've now got protected time to find those answers for people. When people are busy and they're working full time, they sometimes don't have the time to do the research on what course is best or who's best to speak to about this. And I'm just a touch point for that, really. We, on a regular basis, roll out what I think is absolutely world-class CPD from external speakers to our existing associates. So last year we were lucky enough to welcome Andy Chandrapal up to our CPD weekend to speak about tooth wear. We've got some up-and-coming courses with Linda Greenwall on tooth whitening and Icon. Celine Higton going to come and speak to us about some rubber dam. Just trying to provide like really high-end CPD for our existing associates. But we're also in the process of putting together a learning and teaching event for VTs and younger dentists, really just to help the transition that I spoke about earlier, that kind of daunting feeling of finishing uni and standing on the cliff edge of the rest of your career and not really know where to go. It's a bridge almost between that and a helping hand from those who've walked the path before them. And I'm really excited about it. I think it's going to be great.
No, absolutely. It seems to me you've got bonus on this to make it great, which I think is obviously going to be exciting for you. My next question really was going to be, how rolling out this particular program is going to support VTs and those kind of things. How's that going to work?
So it really is, when I speak to people about it, I kind of sum it up as what I wish I had when I finished VT. You come out and you count school, uni and VT, you've got 13, 14 years of kind of structured education where you really are spoon-fed to a degree. This is what you need to know, this is how we know it and apply it. And then you come out and think, God, the next 30 years until I retire, here we are. And it can be quite daunting. So really what we're trying to do is create a structured 2-year program which helps guide and encourage that independence over a slightly longer period of time. Really what we want to do is take all the knowledge that they have from dental school and from VT and just add a little extra step to it across the board, across every discipline of dentistry, whether it be oral surgery, fixed and removable pros, orthodontics, anything like that at all. We're going to have a kind of focused, fixed day, a blend of in-person teaching and some hands-on, and really just deep dive a little bit more into how does that look when we take it up the next level. Come in and spend a bit of time with us in the clinic and shadow and see what we do on a more advanced level day to day, and just really create an environment where the young dentists feel comfortable and safe enough to learn in. Not only from a clinical point of view, I feel like one of the biggest things I had to learn how to deal with when I graduated was managing failure. You're so used to doing really well at school, doing well at dental school, and you come out and you've never really seen anything fail before, but dentistry's hard, and to get good at it is even harder. And I think that's those first couple of years is when you first see that and you come back and go, God, why am I not brilliant at this? It's not because you're not good, it's because it's really hard. And being able to speak to someone who's been through those failures, who's walked that path before you, and take a minute and go, oh, do you know what? It's not just me. It lets the shoulders drop. It creates an environment where everyone's comfortable and they can share those experiences. And that's how you learn, really.
That's just a sign of having sort of good mentorship, right? You've obviously had that with Phil. You've recognised that, obviously, and now you're going to be taking that role as well, which is going to be quite exciting. Managing failure, sometimes people don't want to ask questions in this day and age, and having that support structure and that, I suppose, that comfort zone to be able to ask questions, no matter how big or small, and not to feel silly. Again, that's incredible. I sort of leave that up. That's great in itself.
Yeah, no, I'm really enjoying it. I'm really looking forward to it as it grows. We have some young associates and some young dentists that I work with already, as I mentioned. And you're right, they say I've got a really silly question to ask, and it's all in the response. Like, I've done things 10 times worse than that, and you can see the surprise in the face. You're really like, what? I tell a couple of stories, and you see the shoulders drop. And I think I'm lucky enough to have some really great relationships with my mentees and with the students, and it's something I really enjoy, to be honest. I find a great deal of kind of reward and gratitude in it, and seeing people progress. And I make a couple of jokes with some of the students. It was a couple of years ago, you hadn't even heard of what you're talking about now, and now you're worrying about the nuances of it. That in of itself is a sign of progression.
No.
You kind of see the wheels turning a little bit.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Hey, look, we all know how far digital dentistry has come. We've spoken a lot about it in recent podcasts, but obviously, you guys are a massive investor in digital dentistry. Yeah, how has that come on leaps and bounds since you've left uni, and where is it now?
Absolutely, that's something that it's probably the prime time in my experience. I've graduated 9 years this summer, and when I came out at uni, it was whispered about. I think there certainly was some variation of digital dentistry out there, cut to now where I'd be absolutely lost without my scanner. And I do think about it from time to time, because a few of my friends who work in different clinics, they've not made that leap yet. And I think I was scanning something the other day and thought, God, obviously we still do use analog things from time to time, but yeah, it is a huge part of my day-to-day practice now. And that is something that as a group, we've invested a huge amount of time and money in trying to encourage that, because the potential with it is phenomenal already, and it's only growing. We have our annual CPD weekend coming up in November, and the main focus of that weekend is digital dentistry, actually. So we've got some of the leaders in the country in digital dentistry, whether it be fixed or removable profs, coming to give us a few pearls, if you like. We have all the big digital companies along there, get some scanners out, and we're lucky that most of our associates have got a good ground, and most of the clinics have scanners in place. But again, depending on experience level, there can sometimes be simple barriers there, and it'd just be nice to get everyone in a room and say, okay, maybe you don't use the scanner as often. Why is that? Let's correct that, and just spend a bit of time playing with them together. And it's learning together in a kind of safe environment.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you're going to change even more, right?
That's it. Yeah, it's only I say this to all my patients, and we're still. You get the odd straggler that comes through and says, "Oh, what's this scanner? We don't need to take impressions. So watch this," and they're absolutely amazed by it. And I say to everyone, it's a really exciting time to be part of the profession because it's coming on leaps and bounds at the moment. What they're doing with CAD/CAM design, and then there's going to be some huge plays with the introduction of AI and things as well. So I'm really grateful that I'm at the stage I'm at in my career because I'm buckled in and looking forward to the future. Really, with it. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, no, it is. It's going to be fun for sure. It's always evolving, right? And if you can develop while it's evolving, then you're going to be 1 or 2 steps ahead, which is great. You guys are at the Dentistry show. Is it the end of May?
End of May, yes. Scottish Dental Show. So we're always present. Always like to get our finger on the pulse of what's happening within the profession up here, and get to meet some colleagues and associates. A colleague of mine, Andrew Coulbard, and I are doing a hands-on workshop on placement of the dental dam, some tips and tricks, a little hands-on course with that. So I'm really looking forward to it. Again, it's just letting, I guess, the community in dentistry know that we're there, as much as a huge element of the educational program that we're putting together is for our associates. It's opened up to the wider dental community as well. And it's every course that we run is Scottish Dental Care first. And if we don't fill those spaces or the extra spaces, then everyone is more than welcome. Again, I'm a big fan of sharing that knowledge and experience with each other. I think sometimes certain areas in dentistry can be a little bit toxic and a little bit selfish. Sometimes you can see that on Instagram, on Facebook. I think we, as a profession, have a kind of onus and a responsibility to each other to try and break those barriers a little bit and just open things up and share it, because it's the patients that are going to benefit at the end of the day, and there are more than enough of them to go around for everyone, so there's no need to be greedy or selfish with the knowledge. We should be trying to lift each other up, and that's really what we're going to do when we go to the dental show, and I'm really looking forward to it.
So that's absolutely spot on. Patients are the heart of your business, right? And if you could help more and more patients by including more people to come in and learn, then yeah, that's great to hear. So what date are you on the Dentistry show and doing your...
So we're there Friday 31st of May. So we'll be there. We've got a stall there, but Andrew and I are presenting at 10:30, I think. And Phil and one of our other colleagues, Graham Kerr, are doing a little hands-on restoring dental implants as well, which should be brilliant. I'm really looking forward to that.
So John, obviously you've got a lot of experience now. You've progressed, you've grown, and got some exciting stuff happening. What does the future hold for you, obviously Scottish Dental Care? I know it's a big question to ask. Where do you see yourself?
It's a great question. It's one that my wife probably wishes you didn't ask. It's struggle to sit still with it, to be honest. And I think she says that, will you ever be satisfied with it? Will you ever be happy with it? And I am, but it's never enough. I think every time I get a foothold in something that I'm getting comfortable with and enjoying, it's right, okay, on to the next thing. Not disregarding what I've been doing before, but just adding to it and building with it. I think obviously I'm still doing my master's at the moment. It's first year of 4 years in the Dent down in King's, and maybe naively when I took that on thought it was going to be a bit of a scoosh, and it's definitely a lot more work than I thought it was going to be, so that's probably going to occupy a lot of my time. Really excited to be spending more time with it as the group grows, spending more time with our younger dentists, and the kind of VT+1, the Stepping Stones course for younger dentists, launches officially in September, and that'll be rolling out on a monthly basis, and we'll be doing as much of that teaching in-house and in person as we can, so I'll have a huge part to play in that, and I really can't wait for that. But in terms of growth beyond that, the clinic which I work in Hindland with Phil is expanding at the end of the year. We're going from 5 clinics to 11, so I'll be picking up some more time there. And yeah, just as much as I have gained a lot of experience over the last 9 years, I'm nowhere near the finished article, and I just, every case that I take on, I'll learn something new from, and I'm really enjoying that journey. So it's just a case of trying to get a little bit better every day. Maybe a bit of a negative quote on it, but it's someone once said to me, "You never win; you just do a little bit better each time." And I like that. But
There's going to be many people listening to this podcast, John, and there's going to be many people I think going to be sitting back being quite inspired about your journey so far and what you've achieved, and also not sitting on the balls at the moment to take your masters, having the support from dental care to do that's fantastic in itself. But wanting to continue to learn and develop, I think, is brilliant. And any VTs, associates coming in, I think they're going to really benefit from your experience and kind of calmness in terms of being able to help and support them. We see it in many sectors. People don't ask for help because they feel like they either seem to be failing or they seem to be asking the wrong questions, or they're having that sort of support blanket there to be able to ask someone something or anything. It's great. And I think you identified that, and that's obviously why you put this program together. So listen, all credit to you. My last question today really is, what's the best thing about Scottish dental care? Probably the toughest question you're going to answer today.
Yeah, it's a really good question. For me personally, and having worked through a myriad of different practices in the years leading up to working with Scottish Dental Care, and I think the context that frames my answer is that working within groups or corporates or bigger groups of practice, still, maybe less now, but still has a bit of a stigma around it, and everyone thinks that you're just going to be another cog in that wheel. I can say it with my hand on heart that I've never felt more valued, both as a clinician, but as a person, as part of this group. The relationships that I've built and been part of in the last couple of years have absolutely changed my life. They've changed how I view dentistry. They've changed how I practice and live on a day-to-day basis. And I genuinely don't think I would have been able to do that without Scottish Dental Care. I've made some friends for life, and the impact that I'm able to have on the next generation of dentists is something that I'll never really take for granted. So no, I absolutely love it.
John McQueen, it's been great to have you on the show. It's been endearing to hear about your experience, your passion for the sector. And I think many people coming through are going to benefit from it. And obviously, hopefully many people will see you practice at the show as well at the end of the month. So that'll be great. But it's been brilliant to have you on. Hopefully we could have you back on Dental Job Stories again soon. But again, thanks so much, and I look forward to getting this aired shortly.
Oh, thank you so much. No, it's very much appreciated, and I'm more than happy to come back on. Just a little message to any of the listeners: if you do work with Scottish Dental Care, you know where I am. If not, if there are any young dentists or associates out there that want to chat to me about anything at all, just drop me a little DM on Instagram. My handle is Dr. John McQueen. Nothing too big or too small. I'm happy to chat if there's anything you want to reach out to about.
Fantastic. Brilliant. Thanks so much, John.